Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 14, another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, I am available for consultancy, obviously for innovation and for workshops. It's what I do. Find me on LinkedIn if you want some of that stuff. However, let's crack on. First one is the Ascender robot from Migo Robotics. This is apparently the world's first vacuum cleaner that can get upstairs. It uses AI to do this. Of course it does. It maps the room and can figure out whether it can actually climb up the stairs and whether it's worth hoovering each one of the steps. Can also go around corners like this, little sort of cheese shapes of wedges. So if you have a loft conversion, that's good. This is of course sped up. If it climbs stairs like that, that would be kind of scary. However, there you go. It can cover 5,380 square feet, which is a big old house on one charge. Costs about $850, £700. Available now. There you go. Nice. Went down a bit of a rabbit hole with Etch A Sketches. I saw somebody on Etsy who was selling art, custom art on an Etch A Sketch, and they showed you how they kind of take it to pieces and remove the kind of the dust and the bit in between, so it can't actually be removed or erased. And then that got me onto Mika Tilton, who showed you how you can do your own version of it using two stepper motors, a Raspberry Pi and an Etch A Sketch. It goes over the top of the two little twiddly knobs, so it doesn't actually do anything to the Etch A Sketch itself. However, you upload an image, it then works out how to do that image using one consistent line, and it then just tells the stepper motors via the Raspberry Pi how to do it, which is kind of neat. So there you go. All the instructions are there, so well done to Mika for that. That is pretty awesome. Interestingly, the comments underneath said, well, why don't you have a pause mode where just when it does that first line from the top corner, you can then shake it to get rid of the line and then it draws the dog. There you go. Interesting. Well done. This is Game Scent, and as it sort of implies with the name, it makes scents, smells with your games. So it does this in a kind of interesting way. Again, it uses AI. Of course it does, to look at what your game actually has going on, and then it just figures out what smells should be there. Now it uses separate little canisters of smell, so it doesn't do anything too funky with sort of mixing them up or anything. But if you're playing a driving game, it can figure that out, and it makes sort of petrol and rubber smells. Likewise, if you look at the actual canisters that you can get, gunfire explosion, storms, racing cars, blood, which I guess goes with gunfire. Interestingly, sports arenas, whatever that might be, I guess hot dogs and whatnot. So there you go. You can also work with movies, by the way, so it doesn't need to be games because it just looks at the video content. So I guess you plug a HDMI in and it can figure out if you're watching a car scene or something like that. $149, £120, available now on Amazon of all places. This is an interesting patent. So it isn't a thing yet, but it might be soon. So this was spotted, link down below. Have a read of the full thing, really good description of it. But this is from ROKU, who have put in a patent to kind of sniff out places during your watching where they can stick extra ads. And I've gone through the patent. This is probably the flow diagram that explains it the most, but essentially what it does is it says like, okay, have I detected silence? Yes, in which case, are the frames unchanging? In which case it's probably stopped, in which case whack in an ad. Have I detected the pause icon? Yes. Okay. Are the frames actually moving? No. Okay, whack in an ad. So you can kind of see what's going on here. What it's trying to do is if you pause it or if you put it on mute, it's just going to throw in ads. So not actually a thing at the moment, it's just a patent, but you can kind of see where they're going. How can we detect when you might be able to squeeze in one more ad? And that's exactly what they're going to do. So ROKU, let's see if that actually comes to the market. If you've not been paying attention to the games world, it's looking pretty amazing. So this is a modded, a fiddled with version of Cyberpunk 2077, and it can show you just kind of how realistic they're getting. I say this is modded, it's running on a fairly chunky video card, and the mods do things like they reshade things and they upscale things as well. I implore you to go and click on the link down below. Have a look at this in 8K at full screen on your monitor. It looks absolutely amazing, but it does look phenomenal as well. So, obviously, if you then start to mix this with virtual reality or augmented reality, then we're going to see some pretty amazing things. If you could see things like this right in front of you, and if they mapped on top of your your moped or something like that, then that would be pretty cool. So like that, well done to all the people, to Next Gen Dreams who supplied this video. It's a pretty interesting one as well. This is Hume.AI, and this is an empathetic voice AI. Go and have a go at their website. There's a few demos. This is one of them, just sort of me screen capturing it, where they show you how it can say things in different tones or different emotions, from sadness to anger to contempt to adoration to awe. And then there's this other thing where you can have a conversation with it. It's a bit clunky. It doesn't quite get it right all the time, but you can literally put on your microphone and have a conversation with this AI, and it tries to put some empathy into it, and it's not that bad, to be fair. But as you can see on the right hand side, it's also categorizing everything, and that's kind of one of the things that they do as well. There's an API where they can categorize the emotional content of your voice and also your face as well, and therefore that's really useful for things like customer service lines, but also, you know, just trying to have a conversation. But likewise, imagine a future where you'd employ this to have a chat with somebody on a real line, and they're using one background, two AIs talking to each other using empathy, and there's no humans involved. So, but it's really good to have a go at the website and have a fiddle. And finally, probably invention of the week. This is Tearables. This is a dog toy. Now, if you do have a dog, you'll know if it's anything like ours, as soon as you buy a toy, it'll get ripped to pieces and the squeaker will come out instantly. So enter Tearables. So why didn't this exist before? You basically just Velcro on all the bits and bobs, and the dog can shred them, and then you pick them all up around the house and you stick them back together again. Comes in different sizes and costs £15. I think it's on a Kickstarter. I think that's where it started. So go to tearables.co.uk and order yours now. That's a brilliant thing. Well invented. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, maybe share it, and I'll speak to you next week.